Hare Krishna. Thanks for joining the class. We'll start shortly. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisheshanyavadi Pashadya Sharine. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you so much for joining today's class. I'll be sharing my screen. Hope you can. Yeah, so let me see if I can share multiple screens. Okay. Okay, so I just want to have a very quick recap about what we discussed last time. Am I audible? Shivanand or Gulab, can you please confirm?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So last session we discussed about second part of second chapter, and it started with Krishna started discussing that whatever the happiness target we set in this birth or planning for next birth, even though it is very righteous manner and even though going through proper injunctions and we lead our life with a lot of honesty, the problem is everything ends at certain point of time, life in this world or life in another world. So Krishna talked about ultimate goal, about the conviction of intelligence, how we should strive for going back to the spiritual world, and we should not try to. The problem is that even if we enjoy it, later on if we get the lower birth, that is a dangerous type of fear. Then it's again we are just rotating in life and death. We discussed about that, and then what it takes to pick up the spiritual path. We talked about the determination, resolution, and what kind of momentum we need to build. And this is a very interesting part because in second chapter Krishna actually touched multiple concepts and they are being elaborated in latter part of the Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna spoke about karma secrets in a very short manner, and this is what we are going to focus on today's chapter. And Krishna later on actually at the end of this particular chapter, he talked on very interesting concept, surfing over the senses, that is the sense control part. Now, when it comes to karma, karma is actually executing action and the senses are very much related to it. So we'll discuss this also. And of course, the connection and how this so many desires are flowing, but how we fulfill only selective desires which are helping us in devotional service. So we talked briefly about this, and today we'll be discussing about this third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. 1 minute, I don't know why it disappeared. Okay. So this third chapter is entitled as a Karma Yoga, and this starts with very interesting question of Arjuna, because if you remember the from second chapter, um, actually Krishna spoke so much about developing a lot of knowledge and then performing our actions based on that platform of knowledge, solid platform of knowledge. So Arjuna was a bit confused because in his mind it was going on whether should I quit this particular war or should I focus on executing my duty without regards to what happens to my elders and relatives. So many dharmic principles were in his mind. On top of that, Krishna also told about executing duties, thinking you are not this soul. I mean, you are not this body, you are spirit soul, and then focusing on your duty is more important, irrespective of your challenges in execution of duty. So when it comes to this concept, whether a renunciation is better, renunciation means a renunciation in knowledge. Why am I renouncing? With all these logical arguments, should I just renounce it? Or executing the duty, that is more important. So it's Arjuna's main question was should I fight or not? Simple as that. So if you look here, Arjuna's first question was he asked very interesting manner, philosophical speculation or intelligence. This actually leads to renunciation. That is better, or fruitive work. Fruitive work means one who is attached to the result. That kind of work is better. And Krishna answered, actually, he didn't answer exact these questions line by line. He answered the intentions behind asking this question. So Krishna actually told very clearly that karma yoga, that is always better. Now, what is karma yoga? Karma yoga means executing karma with the intention of yoga. So yoga means what? Yuja. Yuja means connect. I want to connect to the Lord. With that intention, when I execute the karma, I'm not attached to the end result, because what I'm attached is pleasing the Supreme Lord. So karma yoga means work without expectation, or even not without any attachment to the results is always better. And now Krishna is clarifying few more concepts. These are most of these lines I had taken actually from translations of Gita. So if you see here, Krishna is highlighting that abstaining from work is not equal to freedom from reactions, because of course, while executing work, we do get some karma. But if it is our prescribed duty, and if we do not do it at right point of time, then by not doing duty, we accumulate much more karma than by doing the duty. So in case of Arjuna, fighting war, of course, some reactions will be there, some karmic reactions will be there, but not fighting war after having got qualifications of such a renowned fighter will actually bring much more karma for him. And Krishna also highlights that renunciation is not equal to perfection, because renunciation means giving up things, and if they are given up without proper knowledge, without proper thought, without proper planning, then that will not bring any kind of perfection. And Krishna also highlights about doing work. So of course we as a spirit soul sitting in this particular body, and the whatever actions we are doing is actually carried out by the prakriti, by the material mode of nature. But there is some important part which we'll discuss in the 14th chapter of 13th chapter of Gita, is about this material modes of nature. And modes of nature means goodness, passion, ignorance. That is, that constitute entire our mood, our thought process, our priorities. And these material modes, they forces everyone to perform some kind of action all the time. Even for renunciant person, even breathing is considered some kind of action. So no one can refrain from any kind of action, even for a moment. So just thinking about something, planning about something, that also constitute action. So practically speaking, material modes of nature, they will always force somebody to act. Then with this thought and with this knowledge, it's always better to act on the right platform. Now, before delving into the type of work, Krishna actually touches one concept at the start of this chapter and also end of this chapter. It's very much connected to executing the duties. What is it? The yoga of hypocrisy. What is a hypocrisy and how is it connected to yoga again? So, what is hypocrisy? Krishna actually says here that hypocrisy means we are showing off that I'm doing something, but internally I'm not actually following that part. That is called as hypocrisy. So Krishna says that one who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on the sense objects. So just stopping some kind of activities, that okay, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. But if we had some past experiences and mind is still dwelling on such kind of sense object, then such a person is actually not following the renunciation in proper spirit. If you see the left side guy, he is still miserable actually, and his mind is on hearing and seeing and so many his past experiences. So such a person actually is called as pretender, and he's deluding himself. He may think that okay, others are thinking I am such a nice person, but internally, if there are so many bad thoughts, more than others, he's actually deluding himself. And Krishna is calling such a person as a pretender. On the other hand, okay, somebody, a sincere person trying to control the senses. Now Krishna is saying trying to control. He has not fully controlled. He is not showing off that he has controlled his senses and then he has achieved something higher. Krishna is saying that somebody is trying to control senses by mind and begins work without attachment. So this is more important. Who is superior? Who knows that okay, I'm at so and so level, and I can control this part, and after going through so and so levels, I'll be able to control next level part. But he is not just planning and thinking about it. He is doing something about it. Practically begins the work, and he is not so much attached to the results, because he is putting 100% if Lord wants, if things works out. So even if sometimes there will be failure, he's trying to control his senses, he's trying to execute some work. It may not be always leading to the success, but he is determined, he's trying in his endeavor. Such person, Krishna says, actually is far superior than person who is just making show off of his sense control. So here we understand the importance of the genuine austerity. It comes from within and not for showing somebody else. And here also we understand the gradual progress of control over senses. It's not that I decide something and tomorrow immediately it's getting executed. There has to be planning. The drop by drop by drop or simple steps, they will actually help us to what we need to achieve. So this action, executing the action with the proper knowledge, to know that what is our level, and according to our own level, planning the next steps and executing and working towards it, trying sincerely, endeavoring. This is what Krishna is actually recommending, and this is what Krishna is calling its superior thing. Now let's again turn to the executing these actions. So one thing is about sincerity. The first Krishna things, when you talk about actions, as explained in last part, Krishna actually talks about sincerity. One has to be sincere in his endeavors. And now, before going into more details, Krishna talks about attitude, because this attitude is very much connected to sincerity. What is this attitude? This attitude, the term is very interesting in Gita, which is used for executing duty. This called as yajna. Yajna actually means sacrifice. So what is this sacrifice? I mean, many of you must have seen some kind of fire sacrifice for some occasion. So there is some ingredients like some ghee or some wood is there, and then you lit some fire, you chant some mantras, and again you pour something on top like ghee or some other wood, and that is considered sacrifice materially. But this sacrifice, what Krishna is actually talking, is actually day in, day out. That is our duties. So the ingredients which Krishna has provided, the mind, intelligence, senses, with all these intelligence, when we are performing sacrifice, our prescribed duties, that is sacrifice. Performing the duties is sacrificed. And what we are sacrificing, what we get out of this, more details will come in the fourth chapter. But just understand that sacrifice 1.0 is all about executing our prescribed duties with right state of mind. Now, very first thing is sacrifice need to be performed for the satisfaction of the Lord. So it is not, if I'm doing some sacrifice, it is not that I get pleased by putting something into the fire. It is for offering these particular ingredients to somebody else, and that person should get pleased. So any duty I'm performing, the thought in back of my mind should be, I should be performing such a duty that Lord should get pleased. That means I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not indulge in any kind of disastrous work. This is something which will please the Lord, which will help me to develop some nice qualities, and with that nice qualities I can serve Lord better. So this is what will please the Lord. So any kind of activity, any kind of karma, the first principle is satisfaction of the Lord. Now, what happens when we perform the activity in a right manner? This sacrifice, this nice proper activity, it actually bestows everything desirable for living entity in this world, as well as in next world, and as well as even liberation after a few lifetimes. So as long as somebody is performing his duty in a proper manner, he is on right path. That's the first principle. Now, the when I'm executing duty, it's not that I'm only the person who looks after the end results. And of course there are so many factors are involved: time, place, circumstance, and then there are some more I mean others interventions, Lord's intervention, sanctions, so many things are there. So Lord is actually referring to devatas. We can see in latter chapter how Lord himself is actually empowering devatas to grant certain boons. So when somebody or group of people, when they are doing their duties properly, so devatas are reciprocation of their sincere duty. They do supply all the necessities of life. So when we are seeing, if you look at in our life, the way we get our job, we get spouse, we get kids, we get set of parents, relatives, money, so many maybe nice opportunities in life. Many of you think it's definitely not something which we planned or we deserved, or we we executed also. So many things actually kind of being arranged in our life for some specific purpose. So it is considered as a best blessings from devatas. And of course, the now the most important part here is when we perform some action, as we saw in the previous session also, intentions are more important, because if intentions are clear, intentions are nice, while performing such action, we do not get any kind of bad karma. So even before starting any kind of actions, when we are in a confirm in our mind that whatever nice results I get out of this, I'm going to offer it to the Lord. May Lord get pleased by this particular activity of mine. When we are offering the results and not at the start, and of course when we get something tangible in hand, that also we offer as a sacrifice to the Lord. So specifically, if you prepare some food and if you have some deity's photo at home, when we offer that food to the Lord, oh Lord, please accept this food. Or we get something nice things in life, you first offer it to the Lord, or you first offer it to superiors. Such kind of things of selfless actions, they releases one from all the sins, because while performing any duties there will be some kind of sinful reactions. But when we remember the start Lord at the end, we remember Lord at the start as well as at the end, it helps us to get rid from all such kind of sinful activities. Now, after clearing of intention and attitude, now this is more important. How this cycle of sacrifice works. What is the cycle to start with, and what is the this sacrifice what we discussed? Now, sacrifice, as we discussed, is a prescribed duty, and it is also being called as dharma. As long as it is done very proper manner, the sacrifice is also called as dharma. This is a righteous duty, and it is with our own intrinsic natural order, natural our motivations, svabhava, that's what they call it. So when we perform this cycle of sacrifice, executes, and what all terms are involved here. So Krishna talks about performance of duty, and of course the performance of duty with right intention, with right manner, with right set of instruments, of course with for right kind of purpose. When we perform such a duty properly, then such a duty is nothing but it's a sacrifice, it's a yajna. And when we perform this duty in a right manner, Krishna talks about a very graphic example here, that when we perform certain yajna, then rains are there with, and rains helps us to get procure more grains or food. And such food, when we actually prepare it in a proper manner and offer to the Lord, we get more blessings. So let's revisit this cycle again. So when we perform our duty properly, we are actually performing a very nice level of yajna. And when we perform our duty very properly with right consciousness, we receive the blessings from the demigods, from superiors. That blessings is the sustenance, is the source of sustenance in our life. In Bhagavatam, there is one very nice line is there in Prabhupada's purport also, that our source of maintenance is not our source of sustenance. So our source of maintenance could be anything, share market or salary or business or whatever. But that source of our maintenance, sorry, the source of earning is not the source of our maintenance. The source of earning could be so many things as we talked about. But what we are maintained by is actually by the blessings from the superiors. So right now, when my heart is beating, I'm able to breathe, or I'm able to conduct so many things, I'm able to understand so many things. Not everything is as per the source of my earnings or source of my own intelligence. These are all actually blessings, and that's what existence is all about. So when we are blessed, and the food is also kind of considered resources, when we gather all these resources, we transform these resources in a proper manner in which we can again offer back to the divine. The divine Lord, in the form of Paramatma in our heart, he actually gives understanding with which we can understand the prescriptions in the Vedas. So Vedas, these days, vedabase.com, everything is available online, but without a proper blessings, without proper guidance, we may not even understand the inner meanings of these instructions. So when we perform this duty properly, when we please the Lord, superiors, we get their blessings. With that, when we again reciprocate to them with grateful heart, that's what that's what causes us that what all things we still need to purify in our heart. And then with that understanding that I need to work on so and so things, again, my level of performance becomes much better. So this is a spiritual spiral of sacrifice where I perform with whatever understanding and whatever knowledge I have, with whatever resources I have, I perform certain duty. I please, I receive blessings, I receive proper more understanding how where all things I can do better. And with that better understanding, I again perform my duty and again I please the Lord. So this is a spiritual spiral, and this we'll discuss again in fourth chapter also. This spiral, it helps us one to gradually, as you see the spiral going up and up slowly, it helps our consciousness to gradually elevate. And um, Krishna says that performance of this duty is most important. Now he is going to touch one of the very important set of souls, one who has already gone through this spiral and who have reached to the summit. To such an extent, these souls, they have nothing else to purify in their heart. So they have already developed very nice qualities. They have a lot of knowledge. They know what to do. Everything is very perfect about them. These advanced souls, they literally have no duty to perform. Why? Because they are not going to gain anything out of this. Their heart is already pure. They have already established connection to the Lord. They can see the Lord directly face to face. For such a person, is it required for him to perform any duty? Krishna says yes. Advanced souls, although they have no duty, yet they act to set an example. As you can see, Lord Ram's entire life, it was to set an example. So let's go a little more deep into this particular part. For self-realized souls, these are the souls who have achieved perfection in their life. For them, there is no prescribed duty. It could be a perfected sadhu, it could be perfected king, or it could be perfected any person in his profession or his consciousness. Such a person who has achieved certain stage where there is no prescribed duty for him. So Krishna gives his own example. He says that I have no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of prescribed duties. So Krishna also in his lifetime did so many duties, but he has no personal purpose to fulfill out of that. Second line is more important. He has no reason not to perform such a work. So Krishna is highlighting that although if there is no purpose to achieve does not mean we should not perform such a work. There is no reason also to perform such a work, not to perform such a work. So, and he is not even depending on any other living being. Still, Krishna is performing so many duties just for the sake of educating people. And he is telling Arjuna also that you should also perform the work so that other people who are looking at you, they will understand that you are such a perfected person. Still, you are doing your duty. That means this is so important part. This Bhagavad Gita 3.21 is very important verse. यद्यद् आचरति श्रेष्ठस् तत्तत्तैवैतरो जनः सयत् प्रमाणम कुरुते lokastad anuvartate. What it means? Whatever action a great man performs, common man follow. And this is applicable in spirituality. It's applicable in even coding, cooking, any kind of work. Whatever action a great man performs in that particular field, common man follow. And whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. So in whatever field we are, we have to perform the work so that it helps us to purify our own existence at our level. At the same time, we should set right example for others also. So here in the context of war, Krishna wants Arjuna to fight, because if he quits, looking at him, he's setting such a bad example, because there are so many other people whose relatives are there at both sides. And if so many people follow Arjuna and stop quitting their duty, they are actually accumulating such a ghastly karma by not performing their duty. So that's why Krishna is highlighting this particular verse here. Now the next part, core spirit of duty, execution and acceptance. So what is it? Execution and acceptance. So this is the what we talked about purpose in the previous slide. Purpose for which we are doing the duty, and at the same time not being attached to the results. So if you look at the first line here, Krishna is saying that how we should act. Okay, he's saying ignorant. He's performing their duties with attachment to the result. So we should act as if we want result. We definitely want results. With that spirit, anything I'm acting, I should get the best result out of that. That should be the endeavor. But We should not be attached to the final result. And that with that mindset, when I'm acting with my full confidence, full endeavor, at the same time I'm not attached to the final result, that mindset will be, it will bring the actual success. In case of Arjuna, Krishna is saying that you should fight because you have got so much of skill set, so much of knowledge. Fight as if the entire war depends on you. But at the same time, Arjuna, please know, end result of this war is not in your hand. It is actually destined by me. That's how Krishna is telling Arjuna that you should put your 100% effort without bothering to the end results. And with this kind of right set of example, then I mean that's a one of the very ideal leadership principle. So for the sake of leading people, one should act it properly. And Krishna also highlights that working in the spirit of devotion, one should engage in all sorts of devotional activities. So this is not just only in one field or one sort of activity. Krishna is saying that we should perform as if, means endeavor should be as if the result depends on me. Even the devotional activities also need to be performed that the means Lord will be pleased with my own endeavor, as if so to put 100%. At the same time, we know that Lord will be pleased with me when He wants. So with this mindset only one can actually achieve success. And then Krishna is recommending that surrender all your works unto me with full knowledge, without desires for profit, with no claim to proprietorship, and free from lethargy. Lethargy means the desire of thinking, should I fight or not, should I skip it, should I quit it, should I park it. Free from lethargy, Arjuna, fight. Okay. Now Krishna also gives he now analyzing the work which will actually cause us to perform it. As we discussed, we perform as if results are depending on me. And with for that attitude, what is kind of obstacle, and that Krishna is asking us to overcome. So while executing the duty as if it depends on me, there are two things which actually might put my or harm my endeavors. What is it? Attachment, aversion. Attachment and aversion to what? It could be a duty, it could be results. Attachments means what? I'm going to get results out of this, and I'm going to enjoy my senses once I get the results. What is aversion? Oh, even if I do this, although this is my duty, but if I do this duty, I won't be able to enjoy my senses. I won't be able to enjoy the way I want it. So any kind of attachment and aversion pertaining to the senses and objects, which is coming from end results while performing duty, they are stumbling block on path of self-realization. Because for performing any duty, such end results and attachments or aversion to these end results, that is not the purpose. The purpose is to purify our heart, to develop these qualities which Lord is looking for. So we have to perform our duty no matter what. So it is far better, this is very interesting principle, and we'll discuss in our next class as well. It's better to discharge one's prescribed duty, even though faultily, than another's duty perfectly. So Krishna is actually like, I'll just give an example. Even if I see, for example, there is a nice businessman, some Marwadi businessman doing his duty, earning a lot of money. And if I understand skills, okay, these are the skills, this is how supply chain management work, this is how things work. But I don't have acquired nature of that person. So if I try to become like him, I'll be the most miserable. On top of that, my nature will be messed up. Plus, whatever end result comes, I may not be able to execute the way the other person wants. So that person is doing business and still he is able to offer his results to the Lord. If I try to enact him just by getting some skill sets, I will not be able to, neither I'll achieve material success nor spiritual success. So Krishna is saying that one should execute his own duty, not just to copy paste somebody else's duty. And while performing this duty, as we analyze what should be the endeavor, the attachment, aversion, everything what we discussed, how to perform the duty. But Arjuna is asking very interesting question. After having all this knowledge, why not everybody around the world is execute their duty in this manner? What is the problem? So Arjuna is asking, what is stopping one? So he is asking the question like, by what one is impelled to do sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force. So what is stopping it? Krishna actually replies that lust. Oh Arjuna, it is just lust. And lust means not just attraction for some opposite sex. Lust is any excessive desire to achieve certain things in our life or extreme attachment to something. So this lust actually arises from the mode of passion. Passion means like constantly mind is agitated about I want to do this, I want to achieve this, I want to enjoy this. That thought process is that is called as lust. And if I'm not able to, of course there are so many factors which are not in my control, I may not be able to achieve my end results. Of course this lust get transformed into wrath. And then we discuss this cycle, how this intelligence get diluted and everything when somebody develops anger. So once we somebody is having this passionate desire that I want to enjoy this end result, it leads to wrath. And with that wrath it destroys our knowledge and any kind of self realizations. So this lust, Krishna is saying that address Arjuna, that excessive attachment to the end results, that I want to enjoy this. And Krishna is also saying how to address this excessive thought process of enjoyment. He is giving indication that lust resides at three different levels. So in animal life, it is Krishna is giving example like a mirror covered by dust. So mirror is there, if it is covered by dust you may not be able to see properly, but you know at least some kind of mirror is there. But he's giving two more examples in tree life, embryo covered by a womb. So you just know there is embryo, but you actually cannot understand where is his hand and leg and nothing out of that. And fire covered by smoke. This example for human life. So even fire is there, you understand sometimes the smoke will be there, but sometimes you'll be able to see some glimpses of fire. So this is a human life. So lust in human life, he's saying that most of the time we may just see the smoke is like lust, but still there are glimpses that some person, although no matter how bad is he, there are some glimpses of some goodness in him. So Krishna is saying that this lust is actually covering consciousness like human, animal, and tree level. And if you analyze it properly, human form of life is having the best chance to overcome this lust. And animals and trees particularly, it's literally impossible for them to overcome this covering of consciousness. Now, the three important sitting places. This is the last slide of this particular session today. And when we are discussing about this lust, this three places, Krishna is saying this lust exists at senses level. That is what we see on the five senses: the touch, smell, hearing capability, seeing capability, and all of that, and smelling and all. So lust exists at the level of senses. Lust exists on the level of mind and intelligence. So, soul by nature is definitely not lust, he is pure, but is covered by his intelligence, his mind, his senses, and lust exists at all these three levels. How to purify them? For the senses, for external senses. The more we engage in performing various services, it actually helps to purify the senses. Then the enjoying propensity, the lusty propensity automatically goes down. The more we do menial services specifically. The next is about mind. Mind is the sadhana. The more we do certain kind of like meditative principles, chanting or reading, contemplating, remembering, the more we do such kind of activities, these spiritual practices, they reduce enjoying propensity in the mind. And third and most important, swadhyay. Swadhyay is reading scriptures back and forth, hearing others, the contemplation part, presenting, explaining that to others. All these kind of activities, they helps us to reduce any kind of lusty propensity, any kind of enjoyment propensity, planning propensity, how to enjoy on the level of intelligence. So Krishna actually ends this chapter very nicely by saying that thus knowing oneself, that is soul, to be transcendental to material senses, mind and intelligence. Whatever we discussed, mind and senses, intelligence, soul is actually transcendental to all of that. O mighty armed Arjuna, one should steady the mind. Now he is talking about actual solution. How one should steady the mind? By deliberate spiritual intelligence. What is that spiritual intelligence? It's Krishna consciousness process. And with this whole process, the seva, the swadhyaya, sadhana with all these three solutions, that gives us spiritual strength for what? Conquering this insatiable enemy known as lust. So as long as we are performing these activities properly, the seva, sadhana and swadhyaya, it will over a period of time helps us to reduce enjoying propensity and become much purified level where we can actually execute our duties in a very proper manner, and we reach to an level where we are then performing duties just for the sake of setting an proper example. So thank you so much for your attention and your focus in this discussion. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
One question I always wondered is,
Mhm.
Gita, now Krishna says your duty is just to fight. So,
Mhm.
so ahimsa and does Gita talks about ahimsa later in the future chapters, or how is it, sir?
Okay. Gita nowhere talks about ahimsa. Gita talks about doing one's duty in a proper manner. Gita does not promote any kind of violence. Gita does not demote also when violence is required.
Mm-hmm.
When Kauravas has tortured Pandavas so much, poisoning them, putting fire in which places they are staying, disrobing, trying to disrobe their wives, taking away their entire kingdom. So many, by so many means, Kauravas has threatened to Pandavas. So when this opportunity of fight has come, it is a duty of Pandavas to fight it and then settle the score, in the sense make sure that Kauravas see their end. Now this has become duty of Pandavas. It is no more there whether they wish or not. If they don't do this duty of fighting, they are actually setting an extremely wrong example. That means in future also, imagine if Pandavas did not fight. They are setting an example that even if other person are exploiting you, trying to kill you, trying to dishonor you by so many means, but still you should keep on tolerating such an horrible example, and it will just promote all kind of bad people to exploit in whatever manner they want. So Bhagavad Gita definitely does not prescribe such a non-violence at all. But Bhagavad Gita is there that when it is required, one should perform violence. But any kind of unnecessary violence also brings lot of horrible karmas. So what is important here is the knowledge, proper knowledge, when to perform what, in what consciousness to perform, what purpose should be there. So Bhagavad Gita is actually empowers individual with such a nice knowledge that one is able to take their own decisions in life with proper responsibility. So Gita doesn't talk about ahimsa at all.